Hello, Capricorn. This is going to be your January through February read for 2020. If you are new, welcome. Thank you for coming to sit with me for a little while. And if you are returning, welcome back. I hope you are having a nice start to your year. Happy birthday to any of the Capricorn children out there. So Capricorn, my dears, let's see what is coming up for you. Capricorn, I know in 2019 you had kind of a difficult year in love. So let's see what we're looking at here for you. My dear Capricorns. So Capricorn, I think for you there is a thought of maybe turning your focus away from love or relationships for a little while, or at least letting yourself off the hook a little bit in terms of looking actively, excuse me, I think you may be focusing a little more on friends, a little more on business goals, school goals, and I think you really want to start putting the healing process together for yourself in a way that looks good for you. I think you might have some mixed feelings about some old relationships or old heartbreak. You're ready to put it behind you, but I think you're still sort of analyzing why it went wrong, what didn't go right, and I think you're fighting within yourself. You're ready to let it go, but that logical part of your mind is really struggling. There are some nice opportunities for you coming to really leave that behind and really get over the portion where you're even thinking about it anymore. There you go. If you can really stop seeking the person back out, so stop looking at social media, stop maybe comparing yourself, stop maybe saying, but what's interesting to me, and the reason why I'm pausing a little bit, is because it almost looks as if you actually don't really care about the person anymore. It's almost as if your pride is hurt and you are just agitated that they, like your ego's bruised. You know, you really, if they were to come back to you tomorrow and jump in your arms and say, I'm here, you wouldn't even really want that. What you want is to feel like you didn't lose out to someone else because they were better. And it's almost like you don't want the person for yourself, but you just don't want to see them with anyone else either. And so when I was laying those cards out, it was just a little funny to me. Capricorn, I think some of you have abandoned your faith a little bit. And it doesn't point to a religious point of view. It's really about that dreamy quality. So right now, you guys are much more rooted in your logical mind than your heart mind. And I think you are really... Well, let me pull one more. Right. I think you're still a little torn about wanting to create that balance. So, for instance, some people live in a logical mind. For instance, Virgos are that way. Sometimes Taurus can be that way. where that dreamy quality of maybe like love at first sight or being able to leave logic behind is much more difficult. And then for the air signs, that tends to be a little easier. You know, they're perfectly okay saying, I don't need to question this, I'll just roll with it. And I think you're having a little bit of a tug of war because even though you recognize that your heart mind is necessary, I think what you're doing is putting so much value on how your logical mind has served you. You're saying, listen, when I analyze things, I'm able to catch it, deal with it. The problem with that is, you know, it involves so much control. And you have to understand, Capricorn, that you just can't control everything like that. You really can't. And it's also a sort of protective measure, right? If somebody can control everything going on in their environment, then if anything happens and they're about to get hurt or someone is going to leave them, they can catch it and maybe push it away before it happens. You know, the other element here that we were talking about was the ego portion, where, you know, for some of you, some of you just wanting to run away, start a new life, change your name, and forget that maybe something in 2019 ever happened, maybe a breakup. Just forget it ever happened. It's just too painful. Oh. Yeah. Some of you are so tired of this struggle, this heart-mind struggle, that you just want to get in your car, take off, go somewhere where no one knows you, start a new life. Like you're having these fantasies and these thoughts about, can I just go somewhere and just forget it? I don't have to deal with my friends and their cheery words about cheer up. I don't have to deal with my family trying to tell me to, you know, so-and-so down the road got married and they were on a dating app and they found somebody. But more importantly, to get away from your own mind, you just really want to do that. And I think some of you are having these, also these sort of thoughts in your mind about the other person getting what's coming to them. Not in a nasty way, just you want them to hurt the way you were hurting. And so you may be having fantasies about their new person saying the same thing to them as they said to you. Or you may have fantasies about them running back to you so that you can tell them, I'm not interested anymore. So Capricorn, this does get better. I don't know that you necessarily have to run away, but I think maybe giving yourself a break. So some of you have some tendencies to really, when you get into a situation, you're thinking about the long term. It has to last this long. You're already making long-term plans, or maybe you were even with the person for a couple of years and it didn't go well, and so now you're thinking, okay, when I move on to the next thing, I have to change the way I do this and this and this so that it can be a long-term thing. And I think with some Capricorns, this is a really bad habit. I think you need to get into that heart mind, try to be more present. And when people say that, they really don't explain how you do that. I think it's a very overused phrase. Be in the present. Try your best, because I know it's impossible for people to shut their minds off, but it can be anything. If you're sitting on your couch, you know, stop watching your program for a half a second and just go open a window and just breathe the air. You know, even if you get 3 seconds where your mind is not reeling around, that's being in the present. You know, everybody can't go and meditate on a mountaintop somewhere. It's ridiculous. If you have a favorite blanket and you're just feeling the material through your fingers. I mean, those are the types of things where you're shutting this off for just a little while, and that's fine. And so I think this month, Capricorn, the takeaway for you is try to get out of your mind the best you can. If you have something that you like, if you like kayaking or mountain climbing or walking or cooking or talking to a friend who will not talk to you about all of this, just they'll talk to you about nothing in particular, then that's what you want to do. And Capricorn, I think if you can manage that for a month, you'll really see that you're in much better shape. And I'm looking forward to that for you, and I know you will succeed. So as always, we'll talk to you soon.